With occasional successes, there seems to be an absolute overabundance of utter failures, cash grabs, you know, the games that launch but feel more like a fever dream. Wait, did that actually come out already? We've reached a point in gaming where more people want to play as a banana in Fortnite than even bother trying out the brand new AAA title battle royales. And then one thought that remains: why don't any of these new games feel like this? Sure, some games launch as absolute dumpster fires. They lack every quality that makes a game even remotely enjoyable, while the head honcho of the company is over here like, "Hey, Carl, how's the game going?" "Sir, this game isn't even remotely done yet. It's not even fun." "Don't worry, the gamers will never notice." So then how can a gorgeous looking, oversaturated, hyped up, explosion filled, professional, cool guy video game be so bad? Yeah, well, if this game had launched 20 years ago, maybe it would have been the biggest success story of all time. But by today's standard, it is nothing more than a mediocre, repetitive, and lackluster game. It's like if a Call of Duty game only had multiplayer. Think about how terrible that would be. Now, I believe it all boils down to core mechanics and how they're perfectly executed within a very likable game world. That's the key. Likeable, not complete garbage. Core mechanics are what makes Legend of Zelda continuously a fantastic series without failure, even if the graphics are not exactly what we were expecting. They're what make Monster Hunter such an enjoyably frustrating game in which the players must go through absolutely strenuous mechanics in order to not get the tar beaten out of them and waste 50 minutes and then die to some stupid. It's what makes Control such a unique experience, where literally everything in a room is at your disposal. You see a wall? Chuck it at this idiot. You see a stool? Now you're a friggin' telekinetic wrestler. They're what keep games alive and fresh, timeless even. Likable mechanics in a game remind us about how enjoyable it was to play, that we didn't just drag cement-filled feet to the end boss. Unless you're playing Dark Souls, but that's a whole different story. The worlds can be beautiful, the music can make us feel emotional or hate everything. The animations can entice us, the dialogue can surpass even that of an angel's harp.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
But without unique and engaging core mechanics, the game is nothing more than an expensive clone trying to deceive us that it is something more worth buying. Now, some of these games show insane potential, but we end up just wishing their company had spent more years perfecting them instead of teasing them one day after their idea was conceived. That's why indie games have been dominating the market in the past 10 years. I mean, in 2009, I was skeptical to lay down but $15 for an early access game called Minecraft. But ever since that game did pretty alright, all these new dev teams are coming forward with amazing new games with better ideas, stories, and mechanics than even some AAA titles. I mean, the list goes on and on. Go ahead and comment more of your favorites. These games are marvels and usually less than half the price of a new AAA game. Now, this isn't to say that AAA games aren't worth buying or playing. I mean, Last of Us, GTA 5, God of War, Sekiro, Red Dead Redemption, and now even expertly done remakes like Resident Evil prove that they entirely are. But remember, there's a reason why people buy and play those games instead of the ones that, you know, nobody's heard about since they launched, or maybe they've heard a little bit too much about it. New and unique mechanics complement fantastic characters, worlds, and stories. In the end, they drive that world. Could you imagine if GTA's vehicles controlled like watchdogs? Or if God of War's combat hadn't changed since the first game? Not like hating on the first game, but you know what I mean. Even with the back bar support of a good adventure game, without a fresh perspective on core mechanics that engage a player, that make a player think, feel comfortable behind the wheel, they're not gonna want to play. Now, Fallout 4 was a fantastic game. It had its flaws, of course, but it was fun. But when Fallout 76 just basically copied most of the same systems and mechanics, it didn't really make anything new, and then it didn't help that the game itself didn't really have a whole lot going on. Now, the game world of Fallout 76 was fantastic. It was bold and beautiful and just absolutely teeming with location, but that's it, a beautiful yet boring open world. There is also the other side of having all mechanics and physics and absolutely no story, as to which your game is just a fun playground, but not something that people are going to find interesting or, nostalgic. Utilizing a specific mechanic in order to overcome a situation creates an atmosphere of what I venture to call personality. When a game creates this moment of personality through difficulty and unique mechanics, they've done something right. There is no reward without a little bit of risk. Games need that innovation today, or else they're gonna pull another Anthem. Stale, bland, repetitive, and boring. Hugo Martin, the game director for Doom Eternal, made the statement, "When you're thinking, you're engaged. If you're not thinking, you'll get bored and play something else." At this time, with so many games releasing half-baked, we need to hold game devs to that standard more often. Any game that's ever come out, regardless of good or bad, has in some way influenced the direction of games we see coming out today. The problem is that Blood and Bacon is hands down one of the greatest games of our generation, and you